Chapter 15, The Angelica Touch by Lindsay J. Sedgwick. General advice for use of romantichearts.com. Do not use your real name. Neither should you call yourself the Devil, Brad was the best, Duckling, or Mr. Big. Meet in public. Coffee is better than dinner. Dylan clued us into this, based on his dad's experience. Coffee doesn't cost much and no need for babysitters, so it doesn't matter who pays, and you aren't stuck together for hours if it turns out that you don't have lots to talk about. Correspond only through the site at first. Be honest about everything, but do not give out your personal contact details immediately. There is someone out there waiting for each and every one of us. If you get together with another member of romantichearts.com, please let us know. It will give hope to everyone else and keep the karma flying. Do you think they'll do that, says Grace. I mean, it would be great and all, but I can't imagine my mum telling the world she'd met someone on a dating site. So 20th century prejudice, says I. What dating sites did they have in the 20th century? I don't know, I say, look, by the time people have experienced romantichearts.com, it will be the trendiest, easiest, most fascinating way to meet someone. You mean by the time your mum meets someone? Well, she'll say they met in a cafe. Which is technically true, since the website started in a cafe. You said nobody else would know, says Simon, coming up all sneaky behind us. Must be the Tai Chi he does. Or the bare feet. Did I mention he doesn't wear shoes indoors? Which is kind of strange, since it's January in the west of Ireland and not exactly balmy. He says he doesn't mind honest dirt. Well, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's dog poo or petrol gunge. Now we can see exactly how dirty the floor gets. It's like some sort of wildlife special on the sole of each foot, so he might be into shoes yet. Would it be weird if I got him slippers? Grace isn't anyone, I say. She's my best friend and she's more streetwise than me, so I need her help. Have you told anyone else, he says. He looks severe. The sort of severe you see on a Santa when someone's little darling wheezes on his lap 10 minutes into his shift. Course not, we say in unison. I cross my fingers and toes to ward off evil, which gives me a sort of wobbly hobble as he steers us into the back room. I mean, none of our friends knew what they were lab rats for. Something wrong with your feet, says Simon. You're walking weird. Full moon tonight. Must remember to howl. Promise you won't tell anyone else, he says, and I'll set up a computer in here for you to work on. I promise, and so does Grace. Don't you? Grace nods. The back room is perfect. This way nobody can spot me or ask Mum why I'm on a computer in Simon's cafe when I have a perfectly good one at home. I persuade him it's not hard to make us a couple of fancy flat whites. Turns out he's utterly addicted to the barista process and a complete natural. I've heard him talk to the coffee machine in very soft tones. I think he calls it Mike. We set to work. Dreams, he says when he sees what we're working on. You need to ask them what they last dreamt about. Dreams are very indicative of deep-rooted issues. I can't believe I'm doing this, he says, for the 20th time this week. Even though Grace has twigged that he can't stop now, which is good for us. He insists on decaf coffee regardless of protests. This is probably good and a sign of maturity on his side. As he puts it, Grace and I are sufficiently wired by nature without adding anything extra. What was your most recent dream? I type. Yeah, but what if their dreams are full of gory stuff, says Grace. So we add a clarification. What was your most recent dream? Brackets, no naked, gory or offensive stuff. Close brackets. What about subsections, said Grace? You know, food, childhood, ideals. Maybe, I say. Can we do them tomorrow? I kind of need to help Mum in the kitchen tonight. Still no chef, she says. We did interview. Which reminds me, Simon, we're getting a new chef. You have to come up and meet him. I wouldn't bother, says Grace. He won't last long. All the chefs run away with the waiters. It's a health hazard of working in the same place as Angelica. Thanks, Grace. Best bud in the world and most irritating. Simon, that has only happened 3 times, and the first chef we had ran away with a guest anyway. I turned to Simon. He's Finnish. Name's Oni. Starts next week. Probably has a moustache. Sounded like he had a moustache. How can you tell? This from Grace, the future hairdresser, who should surely know these things. It was the way he was speaking, like there was something muffling his upper lip or making it too heavy to move. He was the only applicant we all liked, so Mum hired him over the phone. Oh. Back to Simon. I owe him, and it's clear he's romantic at heart, because this site has become more than a favour he's doing me or a money-making scheme. I could bring him down to meet you once he's settled in. Why? He says. Just because. Okay. Grace walks out with me as Marcus pulls up outside the pub opposite. Guess you're playing Happy Families, says I. She sneaks a thumb in as she heads across, scowl in place. Maybe you should rethink this mating your mum business, Grace mutters next day when she lands into school, Marcus having given her a lift. Seems he whisked Grace and Kitty off to Sligo for a meal. She was not impressed. It was a fry-your-own-cow restaurant, and Grace is strictly vegetarian, except sometimes at Christmas. Then there was the polite conversation and seeing her mum laugh at all his lousy jokes. Now she's going to get in trouble for only having half her homework done and yawning in religion, though she generally yawns in religion. I reckon she's allergic. Turns out Simon is on 45 chat rooms. This should make spreading the word easy. I tell him this as if it's a good thing. No way, he says. Why not? Privacy, ethics, legality, he says, not wanting anyone else to know I'm involved in your website. Oh, that. Grace thinks the site should look like a glossy women's mag because her mum loves them. Simon and I veto this with scarce a breath between us. For a start, Mum hates women's magazines, and she's the priority here, even if Simon doesn't know it. Besides, we want all sorts of cool men and women, says I. My heart motif has been replaced, first by seagulls. Simon ruled them out as we live near the sea, and this might be too much of a clue to the geographic location of the site. Then by swifts. Nah, they move too fast, says Grace. We want men who will stick. We settled on swans, since they mate for life. Their long necks almost form a heart if they're facing each other, which they will on our site. Isn't it too cheesy? Completely. Might put men off, says I. What sort of men? Men like Marcus. Yes, says Grace immediately. I like it. It's a fantastic logo. We should have a dozen swans and make them pink and put them on the mill pond. Simon frowns. Not enough space. He's not used to Grace's humour yet. I suspect he thinks she fancies him because she keeps going on about his hair and wanting to do something to it. To be continued.